Alright, hey, what's up? This is just going to be a quick video for Gypsy Foxx. So I'm going to put that in the title. Because, yeah, I watch Gypsy Foxx. I recommend it. You know, it's one of the only fucking everyday people channels that's left. They're so far and few between, you know, that they just hardly even exist anymore. The only channels that exist are all the hyped up fucking bullshit channels like Richie from Boston and Crow House and all the others all over the fucking place and popular and trending. Dustin Nemos, and it's all garbage. But anyways, yeah, so I watched Gypsy Foxx. He's been putting out videos on trucking. Hold on just a second. So, I'm getting me some coffee here. I'm just gonna relax. I'm not gonna... Anyways, here I come. Here I'm coming. So, yeah, so Gypsy Foxx has been doing videos on what it's like to be a trucker and all the fucked up and crazy shit that goes on in the trucking industry, like driving a semi truck and stuff. And he's been doing these videos for Jim Rizzoli and Jim and Diane, because they're kind of curious about the the trucking industry and how it works and everything. So I've been watching his videos and he's talking about that. And in these videos, Gypsy Foxx is mentioning how he wants to go back to school and get into, like, drug treatment, kind of get drug and alcohol certified so he can help people, and I worked in that field for 10 years, and so I left a comment in Gypsy's last video and told him if he wants me to do videos on what it's like to work in the field that he wants to go into, let me know. I'd be glad to do videos on it. So again, the idea is, and a lot of people have this idea and have done it and do it. They go to school to learn to be like a drug and alcohol counselor, okay? And so I'll just go into a little bit right now since I'm doing this video. Yeah, a lot of people do that, have done it, and do that. And like I said, I worked in that field for 10 years, and I've seen it all, man. I've seen the way the whole fucking system functions. And I can tell you all kinds of shit about that. But so if you think about imagining being in a position like that where a person goes to school and gets certified as a drug and alcohol counselor to help people and stuff like this. Okay, and here's the deal, like if a person goes into the field because they want to help people, that's why they're going into that particular profession or whatever you want to call it. The thing to know is that whatever organization that you work for in the field of drug and alcohol counseling, they don't want to help people. They just want to make money. And 9 times out of 10, they'll claim a nonprofit status so that they can say and appear as though they're not there for profit. That's a lie. So whoever, like whatever viewer, whether it's Gypsy Foxx or anyone else, the thing to know about the drug and alcohol, the field of being a drug and alcohol counselor, if whoever you are, if you go into that field because you want to help people and you get certified and you get a job, I'm telling you, whoever you work for, whatever organization you work for, that's supposedly there to help people with drug and alcohol issues and any and everything that ties into all that. That organization that you work for doesn't give a fuck about anyone or anything but money. And they will grind you into the fucking dirt. They will make sure, they'll train you like a dog to make sure that your reports are written up just so that the organization can take all those reports, consolidate them into a grant so that they can apply for more money. And so so if you the way that whole field works is if you comply with the organization you work for, then you'll do what they say and you'll put in the reports, and the reports will say what they always say. It's always the same. And so the only way, if you want to help people and you get into that field, you're going to be fighting with the organization that you work for. You're going to find that the organization that you work for does not want those people to get help, even though you got into that field to help people. The organization you work for has no interest in helping those people, even though you may. It's just like the police. It's just like if you go and you want to be a police officer because you want to make a difference and help people and get clean the streets of crime, like murder and rape and et cetera, et cetera. That's great until you get into the police department. You finally get in and you get your job. What you will find with any police department that you work for is that police department doesn't give a fuck about helping people and policing crime. All that police department cares about is money. And so if you become a police officer because you want to help people and you want to do good thing for the community, once you get that job as a police officer, you're going to find that the police department you work for is at odds with you, because the police department doesn't want to help anybody and doesn't want to police crime. The only reason that the police department exists and functions is to make money. And so you might think, well, I thought I was going to be a police officer to police crime and to help people and to do good. And no. So then at some point, you'll reach a crossroad where you're either going to give in and play the game, or you're going to stand up and say, no, my job is to help people. I'm not doing this shit. And that's what will happen. And as you might imagine, most people, when they get to that crossroad, they choose their career. They choose to just play the game, do what they're told, pull the lever, push the button, instead of go the other direction and start standing up and saying, hey, I'm at this job because I want to police crime, not go and harass old women because they're pushing a shopping cart and hand out, jaywalking tickets and parking tickets. I want to police real crime. And then the police department's going to say, look, you don't like it? Fuck off. This is how we roll. You don't like it? Get the fuck out of here. So you can either keep your job and push the paper and do nothing and ignore all this real crime and go harass old women because they're pushing a shopping cart downtown, or you can get the fuck lost. We can fill your position easily. And this is the way the drug and alcohol counselor industry works. Is that the organization you work for, all your bosses and supervisors, none of them give a fuck about helping people. All they care about is the paycheck. And it's gonna get in the way of your job, where you're gonna start realizing, dude, this is bullshit. And then you're going to be at a crossroad, and you're either going to continue to go along to get along so you can keep your job, or you're going to stand up and say, look, I got this job because I want to help people recover from drug and alcohol addiction. And what you got me doing isn't doing anything to help anybody, and arguably it's only making everything worse. And your boss and your supervisor is going to say the same thing. This is how we do it. You don't like it? Kick fucking rocks. We can find somebody to replace you like that. no problem. Anyways, the drug and alcohol recovery industry is as cutthroat, is as or more cutthroat than working for a corporation. They don't care about helping people recover from drugs and alcohol. All they care about is money. Okay? Again, I worked in the field for 10 years, and it was a very hard lesson. It took a lot of years, and then it took even a lot more years of turmoil, because I wanted to help, but I couldn't, and so I didn't know what to do. Because I'm one of the few people that actually gives a fuck about my job working there. And if I leave, and eventually I had to leave. And again. I've been fired. You'll get fired for doing your job. If you work as a drug and alcohol counselor, you get certified and do all this and that and get your job as a drug and alcohol counselor, I guarantee you, if you're doing your job, you'll get fired. Or it'll be so bad that you'll just quit. My first job in that industry, I lasted just over 7 years before I finally quit. And the place was so corrupt that I worked for, when I applied for unemployment and I got it, even though you don't get unemployment when you quit your job. But I filed for unemployment anyways, and I told them my whole case of how corrupt the place was that I worked at. The judge looked at my case and said, you get unemployment. Anyways, I could do tons of videos on that whole field. The service provider industry, helping people get off of drugs and alcohol and helping people that need help. I mean, here's some other things you'll have to realize if you get into this field. Probably close to 80 or 90% of all the people that you work with helping people get off of drugs and alcohol and shit, recover from drug and alcohol addiction, 80% at least are going to all be homeless people. You know, they're going to be homeless people. And I guarantee you, you will not get properly trained. You will not get properly trained. You won't even know what you're doing. If you just go by the training that you get from school and all this training, none of that, that's not how you learn how to do it. I can give you the main line too, where to get properly trained, and that would be the Harm Reduction Coalition in Oakland, California, which they do provide free trainings, a lot of them, like 2 or 3 a week, year round, free trainings. And that's where you'll learn how to do your job as a drug and alcohol counselor. You will not learn it at school, and you will not learn it by the training that the organization you work for provides. You will have to go outside that and go to the Harm Reduction Coalition. And they have free trainings, but you still got to pay for the gas there and the gas back. Hopefully your boss is cool enough, they'll understand that you need to get harm reduction training, because that is the best practices approach in the field of drug and alcohol recovery, is harm reduction. And you will not get adequately trained on harm reduction at any organization you work for, and you will not get that schooling at a college either. You will have to go to the Harm Reduction Coalition in Oakland. And they do have free trainings in a lot of them. And that's where you want to go if you really, truly want to learn how to be an effective drug and alcohol counselor. And once you learn harm reduction and you get trained at the Harm Reduction Coalition in Oakland, then you will be able to see clearly how the organization you work for does not care about anybody. All they care about is money. Then you will see that a big part of your job will be incorporating harm reduction into not only your job, but also figuring out how to tactfully and covertly push harm reduction in the organization you work for. And once your boss sees that you know what you're doing, the boss doesn't want you around, because they don't want people that know what they're doing. Because people that know what they're doing are going to be able to effectively help drug addicts and alcoholics. People that know how to effectively do drug and alcohol counseling will be helping people. And the organization that you will work for does not care about helping people. And the more people are not receiving help, the more money your organization will get from the federal government. So if you are being successful, you are going to have major problems at your job. They don't want you to succeed at helping people. They want you to push that button that they have there, and they want you to pull that lever without question. And once you start questioning, then the boss is going to start looking at you like, what's going on with this guy? He's not assimilating. I guarantee you, 1,000 fucking percent. 1,000%. And then once you start seeing all this, it starts to grind away at your soul. If you really do care about helping people, once you get into one of these jobs, you'll see by seeing that these organizations don't give a fuck about anything or anyone, all they care about is money, it'll start to grind away at your soul, because you'll realize there is no help for addicts and alcoholics. There is no help. And like I said, 80% of the people you're going to get to counsel are going to be homeless people. And if you're one of these kind of people that are like, yeah, fuck the homeless, they're all a bunch of fucking retarded pieces of shit, well then 80% of your clients are going to be homeless, are going to be people that you hate, that you think are hopeless and stupid and retarded, etc., etc. So do you really care to help those people when you hate them, right? You hate them. This is why harm reduction training is essential, because in harm reduction training, you have to train yourself to not be judgmental. You have to drop all of this opinion of what you think of other people. You think people are sheeple and this and that. Well, when one of those people comes before you as a client, you can't have that judgment. You have to drop all that judgment. You have to be completely objective. Unless you don't care about your job and you're just there for the money, well, then you'll fit right in. But if you actually care about your job, it's a really, really hard road. It's a really hard one. It's easy for people that don't have any empathy. People that don't have empathy and don't give a fuck about anything, that job is easy to them, because they just sit around and do Facebook and paint their nails and shit all day. They don't do anything. But if you actually do care about helping addicts and alcoholics and shit, you're not going to fit in at all. All your coworkers are going to be looking at you wondering, how come you're not painting your nails, or you know, how come you're not using the transgender bathroom? How come you're not dressed like a woman? How come, why do you even care about these hopeless people? Don't you know they're all hopeless? So anyway, yeah. Anyways, if anybody wants me to do more videos on that, let me know. I could tell you all about the drug and alcohol counseling industry, and all the ins and outs, upside down, backwards, forwards, up, down, everything. I could tell you everything. And like I said, if you really want to get trained on how to truly effectively, the best practices approach in drug and alcohol counseling, your best bet is the Harm Reduction Coalition in Oakland, California. The Harm Reduction Coalition in Oakland, California. And they have free trainings, at least 1 or 2 a week. But I've been out of the loop for a long time. It's gotten worse. It gets worse and worse every year. So that whole industry gets worse and worse every fucking year, just like the trucking industry. Every year. Doesn't the trucking industry just get worse and worse everything does. And like I said, it's like being a cop. You train to be a cop because you want to help and you want to help people and do good and stuff like this. And that's all good until you actually end up at the police department, employed at the police department. Then you see you're alone. None of them cops give a fuck about helping people. They are even considering helping themselves to raping innocent victims because they carry a gun and drive a police car. This is how the drug and alcohol recovery industry is the same way. Think about it. If you're a drug and alcohol counselor, you're going to have people that are desperately addicted to drugs and alcohol. Those are some of the most easily victimized people, is people that are desperately addicted to drugs. And then think about all the fucked up people that have an opportunity to get in that field just so that they can exploit vulnerable people. Very insane. It's a very insane industry, my friend. So if you want to learn more about that, I'm telling you, you're not going to learn any of this in the college where you go to get your degree or get your drug and alcohol certification, and you're not going to get any valuable training from any job you work doing drug and alcohol counseling. You're not. Your best bet is to fucking, pick my brain. And like I said, harm reductionists. The harm reduction is best practices approach to. But you have to be careful because there are tons and tons of fake harm reductionists, more and more, because people are realizing that this is true. Harm reduction is the best practices approach in drug and alcohol counseling. And so then you'll have more fake. Once people start to pick up on it, then you start to see more and more fake ones. Just like in the truther movement. Once people start to pick up on the truther movement, then you see more and more fake truthers popping up all the time, everywhere. And it grows like a cancer. It grows exponentially like a cancer. Now, the truther movement is 90% or more fake truthers. And it's the same in the drug and alcohol counseling industry, the same even in harm reduction. I don't know how much worse harm reduction has gotten now than it was when it's the best practices approach in drug and alcohol. And I'm telling you, they're not going to teach it. You're not going to get taught it when you get drug and alcohol counselor certified. And you're not going to get taught it at any job you're working. They hate harm reduction because harm reduction is how to help people, and they don't want to help people. They just want to help themselves to the federal taxpayer money. So anyways, if you're interested, let me know. See you, boys.